Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lucore Automotive. Today it's time to do some maintenance and looking over on our 2003 Pontiac Vibe GT. I put a couple of 100 miles on it since I first bought it. It is still in absolutely as I bought it condition, other than the fact that I took it to the car wash and it's been rained on a bunch. We got to deal with a couple of things. First off, we're going to do an oil change on this thing because I have no idea what the oil that's in there is. It has a proper quantity of oil, but I have no idea what kind of oil they used. And we typically prefer on these vehicles Castrol, and picked up a K&N filter from a local auto parts store. So I'm going to drain the oil out, put an oil change in it, clear the codes, and see if maybe my VVT code goes away because of oil. That's not going to fix my problem. We're going to get underneath it for the very first time, see what's what underneath there. Hopefully it's in good shape, and discuss ordering parts, because that's what's going to probably happen next. And then we're going to try to figure out this VVT situation. So if you're interested, stay around. As I said, I have never been underneath this vehicle. This is the very first time I've had it up in the air. So let's take a look and see what we see, shall we? Yeah, body kit's been beat up a little bit more than I expected it to be. That front lip has definitely been beaten on. Yike. Okay, well, that's good to know. That piece, the core support is nice and straight. That part is less than straight, so it certainly hit something at some point in time. Yike. Okay, good to know. It's actually really not that rusty for what it is. Not terribly gross underneath here. Certainly a bit of a leak. Let's see whether or not that's a axle leak, probably. Axle seal. I'm gonna guess is what that's all about right there. Somebody's clearly been in here because there's a bit of RTV in there, so somebody's been in this trans. Well, pan looks nice and dry. That's good. Brakes are kind of terrible, I'll be honest. There's a bit of dragging and a bit of grinding. But that's, you know, especially with a vehicle that's been sitting in Ohio, that happens a lot. Looks like our exhaust is still all original. Still has the Toyota shield on it. Spring bolt kit. None of that's ever been relieved. So that is the original. It looks almost, it's all like a shorty header almost, and it's got a catalytic converter on it. Well, it's supposed to have a catalytic converter on it. Front O2 sensor, rear O2 sensor. That looked like a piece of... Huh. Well, that's probably why we have a P0420 code, huh? Well, that explains something. Well, this is less than great. That is badly rotted out. Badly rotted out. Wow. So there's your passenger side. Driver's side is, yeah, not so great. I wonder if this thing sat in something, or if somebody hammered this corner on something and damaged it, and it sat for a long period of time. The rest of the floor actually is pretty dang clean, to be honest. It's the pinch welds are in pretty decent shape. You know, there's a little bit of rusting on them, but nothing totally crazy. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. As far as the body kit goes, again, you can see that crack there. And that is directly on the other side of all of this. So I'm guessing somebody ran over something and ripped that open. And that's why we see all that inner wheel damage, inner wheel well damage and floor damage there. You can see right there where that crack is. But the rest of the body kit wise is pretty solid. Nothing back here in the back to worry about. The wheels are horrible, as you can see, which these are notorious for flaking off and all of that grossness. Brakes are dragging a little bit. They're cleaning up, but they're still not anywhere near clean. There is no parking brake to speak of, so we've got to get back in there and see what's going on anyway. So it's definitely going to be a brake job situation. This front rotor is definitely kind of rough. Again, the wheels are kind of horrible. But I have a solution for that. Alright, let's change the oil out. Let's see what we've got. Hopefully there's nothing sparkly that's in there. I've put about 400 miles on this oil change. It looked like it was basically brand new fresh stuff when I purchased the car and first drove it. So we'll see. 400 miles. If there's something sparkly in it, there's going to be something sparkly in it. Please God, don't be anything sparkly in this. Micro guard. Maximum efficiency, maximum protection. Good Lord. So put this on with a freaking impact? Ah. This is insane. Who put this freaking oil drain plug is on with like an impact. I literally can't get this off of here.
I think they use a 36 inch.
Don't tighten your oil drain plug to the point where you gotta have a fat guy hold on it. Ridiculous. Yeah, what's going to worry me is whether or not it tightens back up or not. Well, we'll see. We'll hope for the best. The threads on the drain plug look okay. Other than the fact that you're probably not going to be able to see this, but guys, easy. It's just a drain plug. It doesn't hold tension. Yikes! It looks pretty black. It smells okay. Not terrible. We'll cut that filter open here a little bit, but we are going to be using a little K&N guy here. Replace that guy with that guy. Make sure she fits the same way, same seal. Yep, we're good to go. Oil up that seal a little bit, we'll put her in. And guys, remember, these don't need to be on with the strength of a friggin' ogre. One ugga dugga is good enough. Same with your drain pan bolt. Now it does look like there's some material here. That scares me. Can you see that blue? Yeah, that scares me. Oh, what did I buy? What did I buy? Okay, that's good enough, guys. That's good enough. That's scary. What did I buy? What did I buy? Now this is 10,000 mile oils according to this packaging here. We're not going to do 10,000 miles on this. What I'm probably going to end up doing is changing the oil, cycling this through one more time. And then I have a feeling we have a timing set to do before this thing goes on anywhere as far as a road trip goes. So at that point in time we're going to pull the oil out again and we'll probably do another oil change. From what I can see, there's been a little bit of questionably put off and questionably performed maintenance on this car. Alright. I just got off the phone with Jegs, and fortunately they do have a 2 1/4 inch high flow cat that's available, that's a universal. So we can cut that out, drop the exhaust down, weld that back in, and put it back together again. Not the ideal situation, but it is what it is, especially with catalytic converter theft around here. In fact, this car has 250,000 miles on it. The factory cat was probably plugged up, and the answer is, Mr. Customer from a shady shop, would you like us to replace the catalytic converter or just weld in a piece of straight pipe? And the answer obviously was weld in a piece of straight pipe, so it is what it is. Hi ho, off the Jegs I go. And just like that, I'm back. I've got myself a Flowmaster 2ZZ-GE, which is a 2 1/4 in, 2 1/4 out, right there. And let me tell you, these things have gotten quite small. That's it. Slip on, slip off, 2 1/4 in, 2 1/4 out. That's it, man. So let's see if she'll slip in, slip over, and we'll see if we got an easy repair, if we got to get anything crazy going on here. Okay, so time for my all-time favorite tool. It's pipe cutter. Plan of attack is, it looks like whoever redneck engineered this exhaust in the past took what looks like 2 1/4 here and then stepped it down to 2 inch and then smaller and then smaller. Okay, so this little doohickey, my universal guy, is only about that big. So we're going to cut right before this weld, see if we can slip fit it over top of this, and then we can weld that sucker on there. We can pull this exhaust down and see whether or not we can slide it over this pipe and weld that thing to that guy. And then we're in between the upstream and downstream O2 sensors, and it'll work. At least that's the plan. We'll see if that works. And if it gets rid of my check engine light, then life is good. I can move on to everything else I need to fix on this car. My all-time least favorite tool. This is going to take a while. I'll be back with you in a bit. Well, that wasn't bad at all. When you're cutting through shitty pipe, it's not bad. So we're through there. No big deal. Crappy pipe. It cuts through pretty reasonably quick. So we're going to pop off our mounts here, our cross piece here, and we're going to see if we can pull this piece down and test fit this without having to remove this entire exhaust, because that doesn't look good and we don't want to mess with it. That's the plan, because if I touch that, it's going to fall apart. One of the conversations I had before this was doing an aftermarket exhaust, and there is one I have my eye on. I don't know whether or not we're going to go that way because it's a considerable amount of money. And I want to make sure everything else is fine before I start spending a bunch of money on other stuff that I need to not have, not necessary. So get this part fixed, make sure the cat code goes away and stays away, and then figure out if my engine's healthy, which, compression test and all that kind of fun stuff, and we'll make sure that's good to go. Probably put a timing set on it, get the VVT working, and then after that, then we'll talk about exhaust. Otherwise, ideally, we would be doing all of this in one big shot, but I want to do this right now to make sure I'm not going to just put an expensive exhaust on a car that's going to fall apart or explode. That's what we call a good decision. Feels very weird for me to say that. Anyway, let me get this apart. Yeah, now we're talking. All right, let's get this brace off of here. Hey. Hey. Hoorah! All right. Gravity. Here we go. Somebody has done that double wall trick there. Let's see if my new guy fits over that. Gotta be kind of careful here with this pipe because I've got the O2 still attached, and I'm not gonna try to move that O2 sensor out of this pipe because then I can buy a new O2 sensor. I know how that goes. All right. Slide that guy over there. So slip fit the rear, put a weld on there, butt this up on the front, put a weld on there. We're in business. Do some welding. Let's get back in our scanner here. Pontiac Vibe. Check engine light obviously is on. Still got 3/4 of a tank of gas. Typically speaking, this P0420 code will trip after like 25-30 miles of driving. It has been historically what it did. It did last up to I think it was 65 miles the last time, so it is what it is. But I need to clear these codes real quick, make sure that there's nothing else in there, and then go drive it, see if it clears up my codes. Engine, code menu, display codes. Do 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 do. Current codes. There you go. P0420. Catalytic converter. Yeah, probably because there wasn't one. So we're going to clear these codes. Clear codes. Condition yes. Okay, so key off. All right, we got no check engine light. Seems to be purring just like normal. Next step in the process, put some miles on it. I'll go put probably 50 miles or so on it, see what happens. Hopefully it's all good. And then we got to dive under the hood and figure out our variable valve timing lift. So that's next. Let me go put some miles on this thing and we'll go from there. Good morning. It's the next day. I am driving back to work. I guess we scan that code and see what it is, but I think we all know what that code is. Oh, and by the way, in case you were wondering, yes, it is still raining. Isn't it beautiful here in winter? Yeah. I feel like we've done this over and over and over again. Probably because we have. Yep, P0420. Same thing. So, let's go ahead and clear that. So at this point in time, we have a couple of options here. We know that catalytic converter is brand new because we just put it in, and it should be plenty efficient. Essentially what's happening is that rear O2 sensor is not liking what data it's seeing, whether it's something with the data that's coming through it or it's seeing too much flow and not enough differentiation between that front O2 sensor and the rear O2 sensor, where it's that cat is not cleaning the exhaust as it comes through. It's looking for that signal to see whether or not it's, instead of going all over the place like the front O2 sensor can, the rear O2 sensor should be a much more level signal, and it should be much more clean. We either have, it could be a cat issue, but I doubt that since it's brand new, or could be an O2 sensor issue. We don't know how long those O2 sensors will run with exhaust the way it was. That rear O2 sensor may be, gummed up with a bunch of exhaust because it was being completely unfiltered. That's possible. So instead of replacing the O2 sensor at the moment, which is going to be a pain because it is considerably good chance that it's going to break off in that pipe, I'm going to try some stuff. We're going to try some snake oil options. I'm going to run to the auto parts store and I'm going to pick up some like fuel injection cleaner kits and exhaust cleaner kits, catalytic converter, O2 sensor cleaner, all those types of fluids that you see that are in there that say that they clean this kind of stuff up and that they will fix this code. I'm going to go pick some up and we're going to give it a try. We'll use this as a product review kind of thing. So we'll see whether or not that stuff actually works, because we know the cat's brand new and there's no exhaust leaks. We've verified that that's okay. Exhaust sounds perfectly fine. There's no rattles, there's no leaks. So we know the cat's fine. So it's probably going to end up being an O2 sensor, but let's go ahead and try these things first. See if I can save myself replacing an O2 sensor. Yay. Oil-wise, there's a little bit of schmutz that was in it, not too bad. I am going to cut this filter open to be able to make sure that there's nothing, materials in this that I should be worried about before I continue spending even more money on this thing. It is a 250,000 mile car, and these things are a bit finicky, so if it hasn't been well maintained, which is clearly a question at this point in time, I'd like to know that before I keep spending money. Use Rich's handy dandy oil filter cutter opener tool and see what's what. I have to pull off the actual filter element here and see what's in there. It doesn't look horrible. There's definitely some sediment and stuff in it. You can see sediment breaking down there. Let's look in the actual filter element. It's definitely gunky. You can see all the gross in there. Hopefully you can see that. I don't see anything as far as sparkles, but there's a lot of schmutz. A lot of schmutz. Well, we're going to leave this here. We'll put some more miles in the car and see if it gets itself better. I got to clean out those O2 sensor codes one more time I'm going to drive them. Clearly, as you can see, if you're an observant observer, I have picked up a couple of things that we're going to try in the upcome if we don't get that O2 sensor situation cleaned up by itself. That'll be another video because I don't think you guys want to see that on this one, but Seafoam, Berryman's, Rizolin, and CRC. We're going to run all those through this thing and see whether or not that fixes our issue, or if it ends up being a rear O2 sensor. It is what it is. But it's an opportunity I can try some new stuff, see some products if they work, whether or not they do, what they do, if they do anything, or if I just spent 60 bucks on snake oil. Anyway, that's where she is. At least now she's got a cat again. It's drivable. It doesn't have any problems. We've got some brakes on order as well. We're going to be doing those. Wheels and tires, we're going to be doing those. And a timing chain. We're going to be doing that. So much more Vibe to come. Hopefully you guys are enjoying another new project from us here. You know, it's not real big budget. It's not real big news. It's not fast and loud. It's not hot rods and that kind of stuff. But it's, you know, general stuff that's cheap car maintenance kind of thing that you need to be staying on top of. Maintenance is important, and maintenance may be kicking me in the pants on this one. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of jazz. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.